Yes, what's happening, people? And welcome back to Gav Goes In. So, listen, Ruben Amarim, last game. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, am I confident in saying this is his last game? I think I'm probably more confident than I've probably ever been since this guy's been in charge. I think, as I said, last season was unacceptable for me. He definitely needed to get sacked after the loss to Tottenham in the Europa League final. But I think in terms of how this season's gone, I mean, if you're a fan, I mean, why would you expect anything different? Because as I said, man, I think the writing was on the wall with Ruben Amarim. Again, many of us have spoken about his team selection. Many of us have spoken about his reluctance to change anything. And again, I think as the title says, his last selection, his final game. I do believe strongly that regardless of the result, I think Ineos, Sir Jim, and that I think they'd definitely be looking at making a change. And for me, I think this is probably the best time. Obviously international coming up, international international breaks coming up now. I'm not sure if it's before. I think it's before the Liverpool game, I believe, or is it Liverpool game and then international break? I can't remember. If anyone knows when the international break's coming up, is it after the Liverpool game or is it before? Because I think this is a great time now for me to obviously remove Ruben Amarim. And again, his last lineup for me, game tomorrow against Sunderland. And for me, definitely, this has to be the final straw now. I think if you're a defender of Ruben Amarim, again, have your say, guys. If you think Amarim deserves more time, come and have your say. Let me know why you think he deserves more time. But I think definitely for me, yeah, it's the end of the road. And the last thing I want to see is if he somehow beats Sunderland, whether it's a game that is that United plays well or they sneak a result. I don't want to see people start saying he deserves more time because I think this could be the biggest mistake United have made in years. I think it's crucial that, give him this game, fair enough, tomorrow's game, regardless of the result, you just sack him. Because I think the stands at this club need to be upheld. And definitely, for me, it's unacceptable, man, to keep this manager in charge any longer. Big up to Sham. Big up to Barbara Joseph as well. Guys, big up yourselves as well that checked out the posts that I done yesterday. So again, I've got one coming out every day. So there is some interesting things that, some of you obviously have seen it. But the posts are set to members only. So again, if you guys want to become a member, make sure you are and make sure you let me know. And then obviously the post that I've got in there, I think there's about, I want to say about 11 or 12 posts that are going to come out every day at 4 o'clock. Again, they are set to members only. So if you do want to view those posts, then yeah, by all means, make sure you sign up to become a member, support the channel. And yeah, there's some good things. There's some good things in there. So there's stuff in there that I even forgot about. So yeah, if you want to view that, then as I said, make sure you guys become a member. But as always, make sure you sub to the channel and make sure you smash the like button as well. What's this? So yeah, so big up Sham. Sham says you have Sunderland next, then Liverpool. Yeah, and then internationals are a few games after the Liverpool game. Okay, so yeah, so he's got Sunderland and Liverpool. So as I said, I think it's a good idea going to Anfield with Ruben Amarim in charge? I don't. I think against Liverpool, as we know, it's going to be a tough game. But I think the best thing that the club could do is have a new manager in place, to give the team a manager bounce, And I think if he somehow makes it to that Liverpool game, I think serious questions have to be asked of Ineos because I will look at that because I'm looking at this Sunderland game and I honestly can't tell you if they're going to beat Sunderland. I honestly can't tell you if they are. Liverpool game, as we know, away from home, is going to be tough. But I'll look at that. I'll look at those two games, you know, as points potentially thrown away. So as I said, it's one of them things where, yeah, let's just see what happens, because I just don't see this Ruben Amarim lasting any longer, you know. And as I said, man, must win game for many reasons. I think, you know what, United find themselves in 14th place, 2 wins out of 6 games against Sunderland at home. You'd expect United to at least do something, but I think if we're being honest, I think this this team is done with the manager, you know. And we're going to go through the lineup in a minute, in terms of what we can see, or what I think Amarim's going to play. And obviously the noise coming out of Manchester United, the noise coming out of Manchester United, you know, is that by every account, this manager is not really getting on with the younger players, which is crazy, because the younger players are the future of the club. So again, we'll go through the lineup. Hunax99 says, "Do you watch Goldbridge?" No, I don't. No, I don't. Big up, man. So yeah, as I said, man, I think this is a crucial game for United. And as I said, man, I think it's one of them things now that we just have to look at. And I think it's the end of the road for this manager, you know. But again, if you disagree, guys, let me know. Let me know if you think this manager deserves more time. Which, if you do think Ruben Amarim deserves more time, I'm surprised. You know, I am surprised, because I'm thinking to myself, this man just had long enough. How long's he been here now? Almost a year, and he's got 9 Premier League wins to show for it. So again, for me, that's unacceptable. And as I said, man, yeah, it's one of them things where, yeah, we just have to wait and see what happens. But, you know, we're going to go through his lineup anyway and what he's going to play. Now, again, I don't think people should be expecting too many changes, because I think when you're a manager like Ruben Amorim that's hanging on for his job, he's going to play his tried and trusted, you know. And the likes of Bruno Fernandes, you know, who we're sick and tired of seeing play, again, he's going to play. You know, expect Luke Shaw to play, expect Harry Maguire. You know, I think all those players there are going to play. And as Hornax has said, we should have sold Bruno, in my opinion. 100% should have sold Bruno. 100%. The fact that Bruno's still here is a massive problem. Big up to Agnes as well. But yeah, as I said, man, I think it's definitely one of them things where... yeah, it's definitely one of them things where we have to look at and think this manager can't continue any longer. But he's going to play his tried and trusted, you know. Do I expect Sene Lemens to play in goal against Sunderland? I don't. I think it's quite clear that Amarim didn't want Lemens. Lemens, as we know, is a club signing. But I think he's going to play Bayindir in goal again. Then I think the back three, you know, I think definitely we're going to see Matthias de Ligt. And again, Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro's gone from being, you know, and let's not forget, yeah, this is a player in Lenny Yoro who is a generational defender. You know, this is a player that, you know, was on his way to Real Madrid before United intervened, still showing that we've got that pull. And all of a sudden now, the manager's under pressure. The manager's dropped Lenny Yoro for the last 2 games, you know, and again, for me, like, it's not even a case of me just getting pissed off and fed up, because this manager's an absolute joke. And as I said, man, yeah, it's one of them things where Lenny Yoro's gone from being, you know, an absolute starter to now trying to fight for his place under this manager. And this manager is just an absolute joke. Let's be honest. So, yeah, I think it's one of them things now where, do I see Yoro starting against Sunderland? For me, he has to. He has to, just like he should have started against Brentford because of his pace. You know, and it's kind of ironic that, you know, the second goal, as I mentioned, come from Kevin Schade, And I definitely said in my match preview, he has to start Lenny Yoro because of Lenny Yoro's pace. Now, when Igor Thiago went through against Harry Maguire with when the long ball from Jordan Henderson, I guarantee you, if you've got De Ligt and you've got Lenny Yoro as a pair in there, then you're definitely gonna get an that opportunity being prevented. Because both of them players are a lot quicker than Harry Maguire. So the fact that he was on the bench is a problem. But again, this is the manager for you. But do I expect Lenny Yoro to play this game? I think Lenny Yoro only plays this game, yeah, because I think the manager is hanging on. And I think if he benches Yoro again, it's going to be a case where the fan base, even his staunchest of defenders might even turn on him. So I've got a feeling, yeah, he might actually play Yoro. He might play Yoro. But then again, you've got, so I'm looking at the strikers that Sunderland have got. They've got, is it Mayenda and is it Isidore? And I think, or Isidore, I think his name is. Now, both players have got pace. And I think both players aerially are quite good as well. So I think if Amorim hasn't learned from the fact that he played Maguire against Thiago, who's got pace, Sharda as well from the left. If he hasn't learned that he probably needs to that he needs to play Lenny Yoro in there, then I think he's going to come unstuck. So I'm going to say he plays Lenny Yoro, Matthijs de Ligt, and then we're going to have to see Luke Shaw in there again. I think Luke Shaw in there again. So yeah, I just think that he has to play that lineup for me. Big up to Hunax 999 with the chat. Big up says, so far all you've said are facts. Yeah, big up my guy, man. Appreciate it. Listen, as I said, obviously you're a first timer on the channel, and as I said, this is where you're gonna get facts from, man. I'm not gonna come on here and just tell lies. It's not about that. So yeah, it's definitely one of them things, man, where if you've been watching my content or seen my other content, you'll know that all I spit is facts, man. I'm not here to fool anyone or to tell you guys lies. So yeah, if you guys do support the channel, if you guys do like the content, then as always, make sure you are subbing and make sure you are smashing that like button to help the channel to grow as well. So yeah, as I said, man, I think definitely he's gonna play Yoro, De Ligt, and possibly Shaw. I'll give Aiden Heaven. I'll give Aiden Heaven a chance, but I can't see him playing Aiden Heaven. Especially if he's under pressure, and especially from the rumors that we've been hearing that that Ruben Amarim is favouring a lot of the older players. Who knows? Harry Maguire might even start. I wouldn't be surprised if Maguire starts, but I think yeah, 100%, man. I think it's one of them things where he has to play Lenny Yoro. And if he plays Lenny Yoro, that means Maguire doesn't play, because De Ligt definitely plays. Mike says, Gav, Xavi or Glasner as new manager? For me, you know what? It's difficult. It's difficult because Glasner's Premier League proven. Xavi, I'm purely looking at Xavi because of the kind of player that Xavi was, and it's one of them things that, because Xavi was a great player, you can only imagine that if he puts his own stamp on a team, he's going to be playing more the ball players that we want to see play. So that's what I'm hoping on. But yeah, listen, just give me either one. Give me either one. I think it's about time that we just, as a fan base, Manchester United fan base, we just start getting in a serious manager, because there's no doubt in the last two managers that have been in place, Eric Ten Hag and Ruben Amorim, have been absolute failures, and they've set this club back. So for me, Xavi, Glasner, Iraola, Zidane. Zidane's my first choice, by the way. But again, Zidane's more of a optimistic. If the club could get Zidane, as a kind of left field appointment, I'll tell you now, you're gonna see one of the happiest people on this space. Because I've wanted Zidane ever since he left Madrid. I wanted him in place before the likes of Solskjaer and Ten Hag. But again, he's more of an unrealistic one for many reasons. But yeah, just go and get me Xavi, Glasner, Iraola. Any manager that wants to play the best players. You know, that's a good start, put it that way. You know? Big up to Lumi. Big up my girl for coming in each and every time. Sorry, guys, just reading through some of the chats. Sorry. So yeah, just going back onto the team selection. So yeah, I think Bayindir in goal. He's gonna again. This isn't my team, but this is what I think Amarim's gonna do. So I think he's gonna play Bayindir in goal, Lenny Yoro, Matthias de Ligt, Luke Shaw. You know. Midfield. So central midfield, as we know, Bruno's going to play in there. Casemiro is Casemiro still suspended or is he back? I think Casemiro might be back. I think Cas might be back. Yeah, I think Casemiro might be back. So I think he'll play Casemiro and Bruno. The two wing backs, again, Ahmad should be back now, but do I believe Ahmad starts? It's going to mean him dropping his favourite Dallo. So I think at home he needs to go. He needs to go and yeah, he needs to go strong for me at home and attacking. But it just means that either because I can see him playing Dallo, which means Dorgu might even get dropped. So he might even do an Ahmad Dallo, or he might do a Dorgu and Dallo. Who knows? Do I see Ahmad coming straight back and do I see Ahmad coming straight back into the lineup? And I just don't know, man. I don't know. Because for me, I'd play Ahmad all the time, but I just don't know. I don't think this manager's gonna put him straight back into the team. I can't see it. I can't see it. Yeah, I can't see it. Big up to Barbara, Joseph, and Lumi Rain. First super chats. Big up, guys. Mike Milek says, bro, you look like Ashton Hall. Do you know what? You know what's actually funny, yeah? I've actually got that so many times. I mean, I can't see it myself, but like it's crazy, man. But I've actually been said that so many times. Like, yeah. The thing is, I don't see no resemblance, but the amount of people that have said that. But listen, I'm into my fitness just like him, man. So that's the only closest thing we've got. Big up to Hema. Hey, you're making me blush. Yeah, big up Hema, man. Big up. Big up Barbara Joseph for becoming a member. Big up. So Aesthetic says, who do you bet on? Alex Pereira or Magomedev Ankliev? I mean, I've never heard of Magomedev. I've never heard of him. Alex Pereira, again, I've seen a lot of Alex Pereira. I mean, I'm going to go with him. That's because I don't really know much about the other person. So, yeah, it's I'm going to go with Alex Pereira. But again, guys, I'm a bit rusty from the UFC because I'm more watching UFC back in the day. I haven't watched UFC recently for a little while. I need to definitely get back into it and start refreshing my memory. You know, I can't even tell you now who are the champions. You know, I need to get back into it. So, yeah, 100% I will do. Dam says, who are Manchester United playing? So tomorrow, 3 o'clock, they're playing Sunderland. And, yeah, listen, it's a must-win game. But again, I don't want to see if United win this game, this manager remains in place. Kevin says, running scared. Ah, he's back. Guys, Kevin's back. Let me see what nonsense he's got saying today. Big up, Kevin. So this spoofer was claiming Carrick dropped Bruno for his 3 games in charge, swore by it to support his anti-Bruno agenda. Upon research, he didn't, rested him once for a first half. Okay, so, Kevin, we're gonna go through this last time, yeah, just to put your mind at rest, yeah. To start with, I didn't say that Bruno was dropped for 3 games. That never come out of my mouth. I said the first game that that Carrick was in charge, he dropped Bruno, which was against Villarreal, which he did. So again, Bruno was dropped, and I'm not quite sure where you're getting the fact that I said he was dropped for 3 games. Secondly, I think the Chelsea game, I'm pretty sure he was on the bench. Again, if he did start, then fair enough, man. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one if it makes you feel happy, yeah. But let's put this agenda to bed, because it's not me versus Bruno. It's not me trying to single out a player. The facts are Bruno Fernandes has been at this club long enough. He's one of the highest earners, yeah, and he's the biggest problem at the club, along with the manager. End of story. It don't matter what defending you want to do with Bruno Fernandes. The facts are he needs to go, just like the manager. End of story. You know what I mean? Yeah, so Kevin, as you said, he came off the bench against Villarreal, which means, Kevin, he didn't start the game, which was my point. Carrick's first game in charge, which was Villarreal, Bruno Fernandes didn't start. That was the point. So, yeah, as I said, man, keep your defense of Bruno up, man. It's laughable, but maybe you should go with him as well, if that's the count, if that's the case, because it seems like you're more interested in backing up Bruno Fernandes, than what's better for the team, which is a problem. So, as I said, man, up to you if you want to keep backing him, but you won't get that on this channel, man. That's a fact. So, yeah, just moving on. I think the front 3 is going to be interesting, and you would think here that the fact that Sesko got his first goal, I don't know if Sesko starts, because I can see this manager putting Mason Mount back into the team. And obviously, if Mason Mount comes back into the team, it means that Sesko's probably going to be on the bench, because he's going to play Cunha and Mbeumo, and then Cunha plays as a 9. But I actually do think, yeah, if he doesn't play Sesko, I reckon it's going to be a case that the fan base are going to get onto him, because I think it's one of them things where Sesko got his first goal. The fan base are going to say he has to play next game. But as we know, this manager loves Mason Mount. So does he dare play Mason Mount at the expense of Benjamin Sesko? And again, to think that, I'm not even mentioning Joshua Zirkzee, who for me should be the main striker, is crazy. Like, how Joshua Zirkzee is getting treated the way he does is absolutely laughable, Sesko has done well since he's come in, but there's no doubt that Joshua Zirkzee should at least be getting more game time than he has. And again, it's a clear sign that this manager doesn't rate football players, I'm not even going to mention Cobby, because we know Cobby's not going to start. So again, this manager just needs to go, man, because too many of the best players are just not playing for my liking, And again, when you've got the likes of Ahmad, that I'm not sure if Ahmad starts, if I'm honest, because I think with Ahmad, obviously he just come back from a bereavement in his family. So the manager might think, let's put him on the bench, trying to ease him into it. But again, that's just a way of him getting away with it, really, because he could start Ahmad, but he wants to start Dallo. So it's one of them things where he'll just use the fact that there's been a bereavement in Ahmad's family as a way of keeping him on the bench. And then if things are not going well, he can change it. So, yeah, I think in terms of, the lineup he's going to play, yeah, 100%. I think Ahmad doesn't start. Zirkzee, as we know, is not going to start, And you know what I'd say as well with Joshua Zirkzee? I think it's testament to Joshua Zirkzee's attitude, because Zirkzee's so good, yeah, as a footballer that should be starting. The fact that he's not getting any game time, and you don't hear, any unrest coming out from Zirkzee's camp, the guy's still doing the guy's still being a professional, and it's one of them things where, you know, if that was me, you know, I'd be marching into that manager's office, telling him, look, what's going on? I need to be playing games. But you're not hearing nothing from Xerxes. He's just getting on with it, and the manager's still disrespecting him like the way he is. So yeah, I think it's testament to Xerxes that, you know, he is still remaining positive. But again, this is why the manager for me needs to be moved on, you know, and along with Bruno Fernandes, definitely. So yeah, listen, we're gonna see what lineup he does, but I'm pretty sure he plays a lineup that I've just mentioned, you know. So we'll go through it one more time. So Bayinde plays for me under Amarim. The back three, I think he does put Lenny Yoro back in there. I think he only puts Lenny Yoro back in there purely because of, you know, he doesn't want to risk the backlash of having Yoro on the bench yet again. So I think for that case, he plays Yoro, De Ligt, and Luke Shaw. I think Dorgu plays left wing back. I think Dalot plays right wing back. Again, setting up with that five, you're playing five at the back yet again. And in the midfield too, I think Casemiro's back. And I think Casemiro possibly does come back into there with Bruno. And in the front three, as I said, he's got a decision to make because we know he loves Mason Mount. So is it going to be a case of him putting in Mount ahead of Sesko and then playing Cunha and Mbeumo? And I think that's the team he probably goes with, you know. Again, guys, if you think he goes with a different team, let me know. Let me know if you think he goes with a different team. Because I think he's going to be near enough the team he plays. We're going to put a little poll out as well to see where we're at with this manager. Let's see. So yeah, guys, I'm going to put a poll out right now. I want to see what we're thinking. So guys, yeah, make sure you get your vote in. So does Amarim get sacked after this game? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Does he get sacked after this game? Because I believe, yeah, if he doesn't, I think it's going to be a massive mistake. I just don't want to see him going into this Liverpool game. I don't want to see Man United go into the Liverpool game with him still in charge. So Lumi says Southgate might be a good manager to get the club's spirit back on track, then hire a winner after him. Yeah, listen, guys, no, we're not getting Gareth Southgate, man. The amount of fans that I've seen worried about Gareth Southgate, yeah, it's laughable. Man United not going to hire Gareth Southgate. They're not. You know, Gareth Southgate's name has just been mentioned because maybe he's one of the names on the list. But Man United are not going to hire Gareth Southgate. They're not. So I think everyone can just be calm and just think it's just paper talk, man. They're not going to hire Gareth Southgate. Come on. Big up to Cocky says, how do you feel about Ahmad? Yeah, listen, I'm a massive fan of Ahmad. You know, as I said, the fact that this manager continuously plays Ahmad as a right wing back, you know, we should all be concerned. Because, you know, the very first thing that you do is don't do that. You know, and I think a lot of fans, because they want to see Ahmad play, they've just gotten used to the fact that to play Ahmad wing back, you know, they're not too fussed, because if Mbeumo's there, to get Ahmad in the team, just play him as a wing back. For me, the very fact that we're used to now seeing Ahmad playing wing back in this system is the problem, because Ahmad's no wing back. Ahmad is actually a number 10. So for me, this is another reason why the manager has to go. because he's going to persistently play Ahmad as a wing back in this system. So, but yeah, I think Ahmad's a top player. You know, I think in terms of talents at the club, Ahmad for me is definitely in the top three, 100%. You know, he's that good. But at this moment in time, we're not seeing the best of Ahmad. You know, for many reasons. You know, he's not happy playing as a wing back. You can clearly tell, and it's one of them things where, yeah, we just need to see a change in formation to get the best out of him. I can definitely tell you this for free. You change the manager, you change this formation, I guarantee you're going to see a better Ahmad, a better Kobe. You know, you're going to even see a better Mbeumo and a Cunha. Because since Cunha and Mbeumo have come to this club, you know, they've regressed definitely as well. And that's all down to the manager and this system. You know, again, Brian Mbeumo is no number 10. To think that this man just playing him as a right 10, you know, he should be sacked for that alone, because it's about identifying your best players and their strengths. And then Mbeumo's never been a 10. You know, he's a winger being asked to play as a right 10. You know, it's madness. Absolute madness. Guys, bear me 1 minute. So How To says Amarim won't go. He's making money for Man U. So again, do I expect Amarim to go off his own accord? I don't. I think it's going to come down to Ineos, as we obviously know. You know, Ineos have to sack him for me. Again, he's walking away from 12 million, so that's not going to happen. So yeah, it's down to Ineos. It's been down to Ineos for a while. You know, how Ineos are keeping him in place. It's just crazy, man. But yeah, it's definitely going to come down to Ineos, you know, to see what their plans are. But when you're getting noise, you know, outside the club that they're linked with Glasner, Glasner's obviously rejected a new contract at Palace, which is telling you that he wants to move on. Xavi obviously is free and wants the job, as we know. When you're getting noise like this, the end is near for this manager. You know, I think there's no one that can tell me otherwise that this manager isn't on the ropes. We all know he is. You know, he hasn't been nowhere near the level of what was expected. So yeah, he ain't gonna walk, but I definitely do believe, you know, it is gonna come to an end very soon. So get the grease out. Man like Rory Crean. Zesty comment there, Rory, man. Zesty there. Gav, you have to choose one ex-United player as manager. Oh, easy, man. Easy. Do you know what? For me, if I'm looking at managers right now, it's Michael Carrick. Yeah, that's not even hard. That's not even a hard question. Come on, Luma, you do better than that. That's not even a hard question. One ex-Man United player to be manager, Michael Carrick, for many reasons. Carrick dropped Bruno for the first game of the season, which I was happy about. So, yeah, bring him in, man, and let him do the same thing. Let him do the same thing. Dropping Bruno's always key, man. You know, I've been saying this to you guys for years. You know, Bruno Fernandes is the biggest problem at this club. I've been saying this for years. The fact that people are starting to come round to it now is it's laughable, really. Because if you actually watch your football, actually know your football, putting Bruno's numbers to the side, you would have seen this. You know what I mean? So the fact that people are seeing that Bruno's a problem now, yeah, listen, it's no prize, really. You know, because you should have seen this. He's a massive problem for the club. So Roy Keane as manager. Nah, listen. Roy Keane as manager was an absolute joke. Roy Keane ain't no good manager. Why do you think Roy Keane's in the studio now? He ain't no good manager, man. That's just I think the only reason why a fan would want Roy Keane is because we're going back to this passion talk again. But yeah, there's no way Roy Keane should be manager at Manchester United. No way. No way. That's just nonsense. You know, what is Roy Keane gonna do in this era of football where football now is more than just, passion and just putting players out on the pitch. It's more than that. You know what I mean? Like Roy Keane's not a coach. You know what I mean? Like you can even see Roy Keane in the studio. Like Roy Keane doesn't really know the game like that. Roy Keane just knows the game in how he saw it. In terms of fighting for the badge, etc. Football's not that. It's not that. So Roy Keane's not going to come to Manchester United, let's say as a manager, and he's not gonna coach this team the way it needs to be coached. He's not. So people that want Roy Keane is only because of nostalgia. Let's be honest. As I said, Roy Keane is a divisive character, you would say. But in terms of when it comes to a proper footballing talk, Roy Keane isn't the guy that you listen to. It's not. He's not. But again, as a captain for Manchester United, yeah, he was a great captain. He was. Sherwin says, these players need to take accountability and perform consistently. They are too mentally fragile. I mean, when we're saying they're mentally fragile, I mean that comes from the management as well. Again, when you're a manager that is setting up, yeah, for your team, not in the best way, and you're consistently getting beaten, it's going to take its toll eventually. These players are not going to come out and start, criticizing the manager in public, etc. And start, speaking up in a sense, but it's going to take its toll, and do I blame the manager entirely for how the team's performing? I mean, I don't, because, there's so many people that will say these players, especially against Grimsby, regardless of what the manager sets them out to do, it's Grimsby Town in League Two. And the thing is, to an extent, I hear that. But when you're when you're a player, you're running off under instruction. Now, if your manager is setting you up to fail, ultimately you are going to fail, regardless if you are playing against League Two Grimsby. And the thing is, I understand the talk about taking accountability, but the manager is arguably where the buck stops, because he decides to put certain players in certain positions. He decides to keep playing with this formation. He decides to make changes late. So all these things that he does, will have an effect on the players' mental state as well. Because if you're turning up to work all the time, and this can be in any job, if you're turning up to work every time, and you're being set up to fail, you're not in the right conditions, or the conditions you're working in are horrible, let's say, then there's only so much that you guys that someone can take. So I don't blame the manager entirely, but the majority of it I do, because there's no doubt that this manager, is setting up these players to fail, because these players are a lot better than what we're seeing, and it's one of them things where, as I said, man, it's one of them things where, yeah, consistent performances come from a manager setting you up in the right way, and them, first and foremost, the players believing in what the manager's doing. And you can tell that these players don't believe. They don't believe in what this manager's doing, and rightfully so as well. Big up to Jay. So, will Rooney, Lampard, or Gerrard ever come good as manager? All have shown promise but failed. Nah, listen, none of them are good managers. They're not. They're not. It's been proven. You know, Rooney, as we know, great player, but not a great manager. I mean, Lampard's been given job after job. You know, he's at Coventry now, and and again, Gerrard is. I mean, where's Gerrard managing now? Is he still in Saudi? I think it was El Ettifaq, I think they were called. I'm not sure if he's still there, but yeah, listen, all three of them are not going to be top managers. They're not. You know, I think Lampard's being forced. You know, he's doing a decent job at Coventry right now, but again, this guy's first job in football was at Derby County, and then went to Chelsea. So they were just trying to force it with Lampard, and you know, Lampard talks well, but let's face it, man, he was out of his depth at Chelsea and was sacked rightfully. Again, Gerrard, they were earmarking for the Liverpool job. You know, he got sacked as manager of. Did he get sacked as manager of Rangers? I can't actually remember. No, sorry. He went from Rangers to Aston Villa. He got sacked as manager of Aston Villa. Yeah. And then obviously Rooney, as we know, I think his last club might have been Plymouth or something like that. But yeah, listen, those three were very, well, great footballers, you would say. I don't think Lampard was a great footballer. He's a very good footballer. But great footballers in Gerrard and Rooney. But yeah, not great footballers don't make good managers, unfortunately. So yeah, big up to Chris, man. Is it CJ123? Yeah, big up Chris, man. Big up. Big up for coming on. Guys, come on, make sure we smash the like button and make sure we are subbing to the channel as well. So Lampard is doing good for Coventry. He is at the moment, but again, I'd expect Coventry to be getting to be getting promoted this season. I think they got beat last season. What, in the was it the Championship playoff? I think it might have been. So I think Lampard needs to go one better and get them promoted. You know, so I think at this moment in time, he is doing a good job. But yeah, let's face it, there's still a long way to go. You know, do I see Lampard as a Premier League manager? I don't. I don't think he's that level. And let's face it as well, the kind of managers you've got in this league now, Premier League managers, you know, is probably the best collection of managers that has been in the Premier League for a while. Because there's a lot of top managers in this league. There are. You think of the likes of, you know, even, well, yeah. If you think of the likes of, so you got Pep, you've got Slot, you know, these guys are good, top managers or good managers. You know, you've got what's his face? I've got his name, Unai Emery, Thomas Frank, you know, Enzo Maresca. Who else is there? I can't remember now. My man's gone blank. Eddie Howe. Fabian Herzler as well. The thing is, there's a lot of top managers in this league. There is. And as I said, I think it's not going to be a foregone conclusion that Lampard, if he does get promoted with Coventry, that he comes in and does anything. You know, because again, I think the gap between the Premier League and the Championship, I think the gap's increasing. So again, Coventry coming into the Premier League, I don't believe under Lampard they'll do anything, if I'm honest. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Gav, do you think Slot will win the EPO again? I think if you look at the investment that Liverpool have made, you know, you'd have to say that they are going to be in contention for that. But I think, you know what, with Liverpool, it's a weird one because they've won the fight. They won the first 5 games of the season, but all of a sudden, they've dropped off. And last 2 games, they've lost 1-0 away from home. I think certain players are being called into question as well. The likes of Florian Wirtz. Again, I'm not going to crash it on Florian Wirtz because Florian Wirtz is one of my favourite players, and there's no denying that Wirtz hasn't been good because he has been not to the level that was expected. I do believe he does come good still, but I just don't know with Liverpool. I think Slot's a good manager, but I just don't. I think at Liverpool, Liverpool's the way Jurgen Klopp had Liverpool set up. It's gonna take quite a lot to kind of put his own stamp on that team. And I think you can see at the moment he's trying to do different things which ain't working. I think if you go through Liverpool's team, Mo Salah for me has been finished for a while. I think people have been blinded to the fact that because Salah gets numbers, he's still doing he's still doing the business. But let's face it, yeah, Mo Salah hasn't been performing for a while. I think numbers have masked over what Salah has been doing, definitely. I think Ekatike and Isak, I just don't know why you'd sign both of them, in my opinion. I think when you're looking at a squad, you're thinking, oh, they got Isak and Ekatike. You're looking at and you're thinking, do you know what? That's good firepower. But I think how are you going to play both of them in the same team? Because Ekatike can play from the left. Is he going to play Ekatike, Isak, and Salah as a front three? Is that going to work? Is that too many players there that are more goal hungry, you would say? Szoboszlai now is more of a utility player now. Right back, centre mid. McAllister's dropped off from last season. Gravenberch, I've always rated Gravenberch. I wanted Gravenberch before he left Ajax to go to Bayern Munich. I wanted him at United. So Gravenberch is a top player. But McAllister hasn't been the same. Kirkes again. He ain't looking like the same Kirkes from Bournemouth. Jeremy Frimpong was a waste of a signing because, and guys, don't forget as well, yeah. Remember when I said, yeah, at the start of the summer, Arne Slot needs to play three at the back because the players that he has, I guarantee you, three at the back would suit him a lot better. Because if you want to play Jeremy Frimpong and Kirkes as wing backs, Frimpong played as a wing back in the previous system, and Kirkes for me can play that system easily. And I think if you play a three at the back with Virgil van Dijk controlling, and then you've got what's his name? You've got Kanate, and even if you want to bring in a Joe Gomez to play the either side, I think that protects Van Dijk a lot more as well when you've got legs around him. And then you've got the wing backs in Frimpong and Kirkes. And then central midfield, you can Gravenberch, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. You can play any of that combination. And then the two in behind the striker, you can play Florian Wirtz as a 10 in that system. Salah obviously, as we know, is not a 10. So where does Salah go? Because Salah's not a right 10. And it's the same kind of thing that we're having with Brian Mbeumo. And then you got Isak or Ekatike up top. But I reckon if they was to play the three at the back, I reckon you get a more dangerous Liverpool. Because there's no doubt in that Florian Wirtz is a 10. But at the moment in the Premier League, it's just not working. So Slot's got things to think about, He has got things to think about. So we'll see. Big up to Double A. Big up, man, for coming on. Yeah, listen, Kirkes is at Bournemouth. He was looking at one of the best left backs in the league. But I think going to Liverpool, it's a different kind of requirement. The expectations are different there. And I think he has struggled, He has struggled. But again, I mean, it's game 6 into the season. So there is room for improvement there. But Yeah, it's not been great from Kirkes, I'll be honest. It hasn't been great. So did you manage to watch Ren's fire in the booth? Nah, I haven't, man. I'm not even sure what that is. I'm not even sure what that is. So Double A supports Oldham. Okay. In Manchester, yeah? Oldham Athletic. Paul Scholes. Guys, let me know what you think of the score tomorrow. Man United versus Sunderland. I'm gonna go with a. I'm gonna go 1-1. I think it'll be a draw tomorrow. 1-1. I think I'm only going with a draw because United are at home, and I'm not gonna believe United get beaten at home by Sunderland. So yeah, I'm gonna say 1-1 because Sunderland at the moment, I think they're what, 5th or 6th in the league, and they've been very good. So yeah, as I said, man, I'm gonna say 1-1 for that game. Yeah, I'm gonna say 1-1. I'm confident of one. I'm confident 1-1. Mike reckons 2-1 United. But again, even if United do scam the win, I don't want to be seeing, you know, prop for Amarim. Let's keep him. You know what I mean? Because I think that could be the worst thing. Again, I'm not someone, yeah, that wants United to get beat to get the manager out. But you know what the problem is, yeah? It's coming very close to that because we can't rely on Ineos to sack him. So if it comes to a point where you're having to hope United lose to get the manager out, I think that's when you're in dangerous territory because football should never be that. I think you should never want your team to get beat if it means getting the manager out. I think Ineos just need to look at the bigger picture and just know this manager has failed in his job. So regardless of United winning or not, he does have to go. And hopefully they make the right decision for me. You know, but yeah, I'm gonna say 1-1. I'm gonna say 1-1. Guys, what other games are on the weekend? I haven't actually checked. I know Arsenal are playing West Ham. I think are Arsenal at home. I think West Ham under Nuno, you know, they could go there and stink the place out. I think Arsenal are playing at home. You know, West Ham could go there and get a 1-1 draw. You know, but I think Arsenal will be favourites, and rightfully so. But again, football's a mad game. Yeah, Liverpool, Chelsea. Do you know what? If Liverpool get beat in this game, they're away to Chelsea. Yeah? If they get beat, again, I think it's a game that both teams can't afford to lose. You know, Chelsea have lost their last 2 league games. So have Liverpool. Something's got to give. I think it's got a draw written all over it, just like Lumi says, 1-1. I think it's got a draw written all over it because both managers would know they can't afford a loss. So I reckon they'll be setting up a bit more cautious. So, yeah, I can see 1-1. Leeds versus Spurs. How did Tottenham get in well, Tottenham have drawn their last 2 games, didn't they? Yeah. So they drew against Brighton, drew against Bodo Glimt. I think Tottenham will be going there to try to look into win. I mean, what's Leeds' record at home? What's their record at home? I think it's the early lunchtime kickoff, isn't it? Tottenham and Leeds. I think Tottenham probably nicked that 2-1, probably. Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Tottenham against Leeds. Yeah, 1-1 Chelsea, Liverpool. Yeah, I'm going to say 1-1 Chelsea, Liverpool. Arsenal, West Ham. I'm going to go 1-1 as well. I am. I'm going to go 1-1 Arsenal, Liverpool, Arsenal, West Ham. Who else is on? Who are City playing? Who are Man City playing? Because I think Man City go on like a little run. You know, I know they've been a bit up and down in the league, but I can see City just going on a little run. I think they won their last game against Burnley. Was it 4-1? So I can see them. Oh, Brentford versus City. Okay. City away to Brentford. That'd be a tough game. Yeah, that would be a tough game. I'm gonna say City win that. I think City win that 3-1. I think City beat Brentford 3-1. I know Brentford are good at home, but I think City will go there and I think they'll show intent, man. You know, they battered Burnley 4-1 at home. I think if they are away, then I think they go there and win still. If they're at home, I'm definitely gonna say a City win. You know, I think they're gonna build up some momentum for me. So what the F, Gav? We will comfortably beat West Ham. Do you know what? I'm not too sure. I think Nuno, as we know how he likes to set up his teams, very defensive. I reckon he stinks it out. I reckon a 1-1 draw. You know, I reckon if West Ham get the first goal, then I think they're gonna sit in and just soak up the pressure. So yeah, I'm gonna say 1-1. Guys, I'm looking at the poll. So 20 votes. Does Amarim get sacked after this game? 50-50. So 50-50. Guys, make sure you put your votes in. So there's 20 votes at the moment. 50-50 reckon Amarim will get sacked. You know what? If he doesn't get sacked, I'm gonna say he does. I'm gonna say he does because I just don't want to see Amarim going into the Liverpool game. You know, I know Liverpool are not in great form, but I don't want to see him going into the Liverpool game. You know, because I can see it being embarrassing at Anfield. You know, as much as Liverpool are not in great form, I just don't know this. I just don't want to see this manager taking United to Anfield and getting embarrassed yet again. So, yeah, I'm gonna say he does get sacked after this game. All the noise coming out is pointing towards that. 22 votes, no 50, not 55%, yes 45. So very very close, but yeah, I think he does, and he has to for me as well. Gav, I'll tell you what, if we don't win, I will have to give you a nice sticker. But if we win, you have to say Arsenal will win the league. Listen, I'll be honest with you, yeah? I'm gonna tell you this now as well. Arsenal are not winning this league. I promise you they're not. You know, listen, as an Arsenal fan, you can be excited, and I understand it, you know. I do understand it, you know, beating Newcastle last minute 2-1, getting their last minute equaliser against Man City. Listen, if you're an Arsenal fan, you have every right to be in good spirits. You know, you 2 out of 2 in the Champions League. Everything's looking good. But I'll tell you this for now, for sure, yeah? And make sure you guys are tuned into this, yeah? When it comes down to crunch time, you know, let's see what Mikel Arteta has got. Because we've seen previously, in years gone by, when it really matters, when Arsenal need to win a certain game, whether it's in Europe or whether it's a crucial league game, they very rarely come up. They very rarely do it, yeah? And again, let's look at the games against Man City and Newcastle, yeah, in particular, where they picked up 4 points. Against Man City, they were fortunate. I don't think anyone can tell me otherwise. You know, they got very fortunate in that game. I think, again, Pep played into Arteta's hands by taking off more of his attackers when he should have just kept them on the pitch to force Arsenal back and give them something to think about. And I think what people need to realise as well, whenever you make a defensive change when you're leading the game, that never spells well for the team, because what that lets the opposition know is that you're trying to defend. You know, the more defenders you have on the pitch, you know, it lets the opposition know that you're looking to hang on here. And I think that's the same thing that Eddie Howe done. I know he had an enforced change when he had to take off Livramento, who's now out for 8 weeks. But when he took off Joe Linton, you know, when Walter Marder went off as well, that let Arsenal know that they're trying to hang on to something. because obviously Asula went on to run the clock down to chase down the lost balls and that, etc. But I think it always lets the other team know that you're trying to hang on. And for me, well done to Arsenal for getting the 4 points in them 2 games. But I think a lot of that didn't come down to Arsenal actually doing anything to force the win or get the draw. I think both Pep Guardiola and Eddie Howe made errors in terms of team selection, in terms of taking off certain players when they didn't need to. I think definitely Newcastle shouldn't have taken off Joe Linton, because Joe Linton was causing problems with his physicality for Arsenal. But in the end, Arsenal did get the 4 points. So again, they have every right to be thinking that they can be in for the title this season. But for me, it's going to end in failure. Big up to Barbara Joseph as well. How about my man Cantona? Yeah, listen. Eric Cantona's not going to become a manager of Manchester United. He's not. Obviously, Cantona's never managed the football team ever. So that's not going to happen. But again, in terms of growing up, and obviously watching Man United from young, Eric Cantona's always been an idol of mine. Again, Eric Cantona was one of the major reasons why this club was so successful. He was. When United bought Eric Cantona from Leeds, I think many people didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, Eric Cantona, man, was a massive inspiration for a lot of fans, man. Back in my day, rightfully so, man. The guy was just an absolute. Like, he was, the thing with Eric Cantona, the guy had so much aura about him, When he stepped onto that pitch, you just knew, just give the ball to Eric, man. He's going to make things happen. And as I said, yeah, what a player he was, man. And again, I think he's someone that isn't really talked about as much, even by myself. I don't really talk about Eric Cantona as much. But in terms of my favorite ever Manchester United players, he's probably number one for me for so many reasons, I remember when, obviously, again, if you're from my era, when he done that fly kick to that Crystal Palace fan for racially abusing his mother, or racially abusing him. I can't remember what it was. Many teams probably would have sacked the player after that. But Ferguson knew how important Eric Cantona was. And again, Eric Cantona got banned for ages. I can't remember how long it was for, but he was banned for ages. And then I remember on Eric Cantona's comeback game, which was, I believe, was it against Liverpool? His comeback game, where he scored the penalty. I can't remember. I think it might have been the comeback game against Liverpool where he scored the penalty. But yeah, listen, Eric Cantona, man, one of Manchester United's one of Manchester United's best ever players, no doubt. Guys, anyone seen the England squad for the Wales and Latvia games? So Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, James Trafford, Dan Burn, Mark Guehi, Reece James, Ezri Konsa, Lewis Skelly, Jarrell Quansah's in there, Jed Spence, John Stones, Elliot Anderson, yep, Gibbs White, Jordan Henderson, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers, Jared Bowen, Eberechi Eze, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Ollie Watkins. I mean, to be fair, that was to be expected. I think there's no Foden, no Bellingham, no Grealish. I thought Grealish might have got called up. And I think there was someone else. Yeah, I thought Grealish was going to get called up. But again, Thomas Tuchel, he has his favourites in that England squad. I'm happy to see Jed Spence in there, to be fair, because Jed Spence, that was a long time coming. And I think Jed Spence as well is someone that he's going to be a required player for England in the future, because he can play both right back and left back. So yeah. So I was hoping Saka would be rested. Yeah, but again, he probably won't start both games for England against Latvia and thing. I think one of the games he probably will start, but I don't see him starting both games. I mean, what are they? Are they qualifiers or are they friendlies? So you can't compare Salah to Saka, especially when it comes to numbers. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, they're totally different players. I personally think, and I've said this, yeah, the closest player in the Premier League to Mo Salah is probably Brian Mbeumo. I think he's the closest player to him, which is why I said when Salah does go, Mbeumo would have been a great replacement, a great replacement for Salah. Both of African descent, I think Mbeumo has shown in this league that he can score goals for a weaker team in Brentford. So he was someone that they should have identified when Salah was going to be moved on. But from what I see yesterday, they're looking at Michael Olise as the long-term replacement for Mo Salah. And Olise is a top player, man. Again, Olise is someone that I don't speak about often enough as well. Formerly of Chelsea as well, Michael Olise. But for me, he's one of the best players in the world as well. And I think he's going to go on to show how good he is. I expect Olise as well to be a regular starter for the French national team. It's going to be difficult because, as we know with France, they've got some very good players in the attack. But I expect Olise to be a definite starter. Yeah, big up to Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team. Big up, man, for coming through. How many mods do I have? I want to say about 6, I believe, including yourself. Yeah, I think 6, yeah. Sham says, I would love Olise at Liverpool. Yeah, listen, Olise is a top player, man. To get him out of Bayern Munich, though, I don't think it's going to be easy. I think you're going to be looking at paying 100 mil, I would say. That'll be the starting point. But he's a top player, man. I would love to see Olise back in the Premier League at Man United, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Not with Mbeumo, and obviously you got Ahmad there as well. So, but he's a top player, man. Top player. And as I said, I think so. Yeah, I think. Oh, 7. Yeah, 7. Oh, 8. 8 then. Yeah, 8 mods. Big up. Is it 8 mods or 9? 9 mods. Zedra as well. Yeah, 9 mods. Big up to K-Lock says, how do you feel about PSG versus Barca game? Yeah, listen, I spoke about that already. I think that game was odd for me. I done a live watch along for that game, but I was surprised at both teams' lineups. I didn't expect a lot of the players that I thought were going to play to not play. I think it's one of them things where that game for me is a final. That is a final. But I think in terms of the lineup for Barca, they had no Ronald Araujo starting. Obviously, Balde come back from injury, didn't play. Juan Garcia and ter Stegen didn't play. I think Chesney was in goal. Yeah, Pedri and De Jong both played. Fermin Lopez didn't play. Dani Olmo was in there. Again, Dani Olmo, man, the drop-off of Dani Olmo has been crazy because Olmo's a top player, but he just doesn't look like the same player. It's like he almost doesn't fit into this Barcelona team. Yamal started, which I thought might be on the bench because he came back from injury. Lewandowski was on the bench. No Rafinha, who was out injured. Rashford started. And then you look at PSG, no Marquinhos, who was out. I mean, the 2 best fullbacks in the game right now, Hakimi and Mendes played. William Pacho played as well. The midfield 3 was their strongest midfield in João Neves, Vitinha, and Fabian Ruiz. No Dembele, no Kvaratskhelia, no Doué. Barcola played. Seni Mayulu played. And They had a young, I can't remember his name, it's Mbai. He was very good. He started. But yeah, again, it's one of them things where, it's one of them things that you look at and you think that game's definitely a final. But yeah, it's hard to say because the way Barca conceded that second goal with that high line, that's something that's been killing them even since last season against Inter Milan. You know, they play that high line and they got caught out because you look at Hakimi's pace. You know, he squared the ball to Gonzalo Ramos, who come on, and a great finish. You know, so that's something they're going to need to be aware of later on down the competition. But yeah, the game itself for me wasn't great. You know, I've seen better games, but they're for me, they're two teams that I do expect to be in the quarterfinals, semi-finals at least. So I think when that comes around, you're gonna get a more potent team. I think from both. You know, I think they'll have the majority of their best players on the pitch as well. And I think yeah, that game there for me is a final, which I'd like to see. It should have been the final last season, but again, wasn't meant to be. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it wasn't a great game because I think a lot of the players that I thought were gonna play didn't play. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let's see the poll now, guys. So does Amarim get sacked after this game? Yes, 46%. No, 54%. So a lot of you think that he's not going to get sacked. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Big up to Lee Hutchinson. Big up, Lee. Lee, since you said you're 45, yeah. I want to know if you know the era of. Let me know if you remember a player called Bjarne Goldbeck. Do you remember that player, Bjarne Goldbeck? Let's see if you know your history about Chelsea. And guys, also, as I said, I've got some interesting images in my members only section. So once you guys become members, you know, those images are only available to members. So there's some interesting things on there. So one's going to be coming out every day at 4 o'clock. As I say, members only section, can only view that. But again, it's pictures that I even forgot about. So again, if you're a Chelsea fan, then again, you might be interested. Even if you're a United fan, you'll probably be interested. So again, if you guys become members, you'll be able to view that in the member section. So yeah, big up yourselves. You know what, Sham? Yeah, I was in my head as I'm saying that. Yeah, I'm thinking, you know what? Hope people don't take it the wrong way because I was actually thinking that, guys. It's not OnlyFans. It's not OnlyFans. So, only football. Okay, yeah. So rest assured, man. It's not OF or OnlyFans. It's only football. Yeah, big up. I was literally thinking that in my head. You know. Right, guys, we're going to wrap up in a minute. About another 5 minutes. So, make sure you got your questions coming in and your comments. Big up to Thomas. Guys, who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot this season? Is everything pointing towards Erling Haaland? I think Erling Haaland's the favourite for me. Yeah, listen, Haaland's been great. And the things with Erling Haaland, yeah, Haaland's not a for me. He's not a great player in terms of the kind of strikers that I like. I like technically sound strikers, and Haaland's not technically sound, but I'll have to say this season his link play's been very good. His link play's been very good, and as we know, when it comes to goal scoring, the guy's an absolute monster when it comes to goal scoring. But I think in terms of his general play, his general play's actually been very good this season. So yeah, I've been impressed, man. But um, as Thomas says, Kane is a better all-round striker than Haaland, but he's definitely improved this season. Yeah, he is. He is. I think there ain't a better all-round striker in Europe than Harry Kane. Really, Harry Kane, is just an anomaly, really, in today's football. And it shows you how much football's dropped, man, because, you know, I'm from the era of proper strikers. Even, the era just gone by, the likes of Karim Benzema, Sergio Aguero, Luis Suarez, Lewandowski, obviously you can put him in that as well. Like those are some proper strikers. But I think this era of strikers now is low. I think we're looking at if we're looking at the next batch coming through and not including Harry Kane and Robert Lewandowski because they're both the wrong side of 30. You got Haaland, Isak, Mbappe's not a striker for me. He's a left winger, but they're playing him through the middle. And that's it. That is it. That just shows you, yeah, how much how much it's gone down in terms of strikers because you used to name so many strikers back in the day, but nah, listen, Esbar says Gyökeres. Nah, you're smoking, man. Gyökeres, take Gyökeres out of it, man. Gyökeres, nah, let's not do that, man. So again, Isak, Haaland, Ekatika you can put in there as well now. And I think Mbappe is not a striker for me, so I'm not going to put him as... I'm talking about central strikers. I know Mbappe's playing there, but I still see Mbappe as a left winger. But again, the striker market is dead. Now listen, Gyökeres doesn't need more time for me. Like, I think what it is with Gyökeres, yeah, people are just carried away because he done numbers in Portugal. I think don't look at the fact that he done numbers in Portugal because in the Premier League is where it's a different level. Now the Portuguese league and the Premier League is different. So I'm not a fan of Gyökeres anyway. His general play is poor. The only reason why people are backing Gyökeres is because he gets numbers, but he's got numbers in Portugal. So if we're looking at this league so far, I hear it. People will say he needs time, but I'm looking at his general play, and his general play is low. And Esbar says he's got 3 and 6. Yeah, listen, I don't really care if he's got if he's got 10 in 10. Like, I'm looking at his general play. When I look at Harry Kane isn't just a great goal scorer, he's a great player. When I look at Erling Haaland's probably the only one that you could possibly say you can bypass his general play because he gets mad numbers. That he's the only one you can probably ignore that to that extent. Walter Marda I like, but again, Walter Marda's still new, but I think if you look at his fundamentals in terms of his link play, his technique, he's got something to his game. Gyökeres hasn't got that, which is why I don't rate Gyökeres because first and foremost, if you can't receive the ball, if you can't link the play, etc., then you're not really a striker that I like to watch, in my opinion. So yeah. But again, Thomas is saying that Gyökeres had a good start, but against the better teams, he's not doing anything. His goals have come against 2 against Leeds, and then the other one came against who's the other one that come against? I can't remember. But against the better teams, you can see he struggled in every game. So yeah, listen, I don't rate Gyökeres, man. I don't rate him. And thank God United never signed him as well. Guys, 30 votes, 50-50 we're saying now. 50-50. So big up yourself for voting. Um, yeah, listen, Walter Marder's a very good player, man. You know, if you see the when Germany got beat in the final of the European Championships by England under 21s, like you can tell that he had something, even in the whole competition. I think he got top goal scorer as well. But yeah, he's a very good player, man, and you can see just how he plays. Um, he's got a lot to his game, man. He has 100%. He has. Thomas says, "Do you want Amarim to get the sack?" He needs to get the sack. It's not that I want him to get the sack. He needs to get the sack. You know. Again, it's not really surprising that if anyone doesn't want Amarim to go, because I've been through it so many times. It's getting boring now. You know, his record is just an absolute joke. Yeah, so for so many reasons, man, he needs to go. And let's see if it's after this game. Let's see. Right, guys, we're gonna wrap up anyway. Big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. As I said, Ruben Amorim's potentially last game tomorrow. 3 o'clock kickoff against Sunderland. Listen, if he somehow wins this game, yeah. Again, if he does win the game, you know, I don't want to see fans start turning around saying he deserves more time, because I think long term this could be a problem. You know, because I think if we're honest, we've seen a lot of Amarim to know that, is he going to turn things around? I highly much doubt it. You know, so for me, I think Ineos need to act tomorrow after the game. International break coming up as well. Liverpool coming up. So yeah, I think definitely this could be potentially his last game, his last lineup. So let's see what happens, because you know there is managers out there, as I said, the likes of Xavi, Glasner, Iraola. So yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, man. But as I said, I think 1-1 tomorrow, Manchester United versus Sunderland. And again, I'm not doing a live watch along, guys, because I'm going to be out for that. But I'm going to do a match reaction to that game. So obviously kick off at 3 o'clock. So I'll do a reaction to the game straight after the game's finished. So yeah, make sure you guys come through, and as always, support the channel. And again, guys, make sure you guys become a member if you want to check out the member section. So I've got literally something coming out every day in that section. In terms of posts. So yeah, listen, it's some things that even I forgot about. So yeah, if you guys want to view the images or whatever, it's not OnlyFans, you know, it's only football. So yeah, make sure you guys sign up to become a member. And as I said, you can check that out. But yeah, much appreciated you guys coming through each and every time. Smash the like button on the way out. Sub to the channel if you're new in there as well. And guys, check out all the other content as well. And again, just before we wrap up, so 31 votes. So does Amarim get sacked after this game? Yes, 52%. No, 48%. So again, more in favour of him getting sacked. So let's hope Ineos act, and yeah, let's hope they do what's right. But one thing's for sure, this game tomorrow, you know, for so many reasons, for Amarim, for Man United as a club, it's going to be a massive game, man, because United are 14th place at the moment. If Man United was to lose this game, you know, depending on other results, you know, they could slip as far as, I believe, what, 16th, 17th, which is unacceptable for Manchester United. So, yeah, it's a must-not-lose game, put it that way. But, as I said, Ineos, do what's required, man. You have to. But, guys, big up yourselves each and every time. Smash the like button. Sub to the channel if you're new. Make sure you guys become a member as well to get your members badge. Check out my content as well. And yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the match reaction to the Man United versus Sunderland game. Catch you in a bit. Take it easy.